This was my identity.
Nobody talks about how freaking hard it is to be a dentist. What most people talk about is how this affects the patient. What nobody talks about is how this affects us. Dentistry is ready for this. Now is really the time.
Welcome to Wellness and Dentistry, where today we're going to talk about that situation like when you go to a party and somebody says, why do dentists tend to kill themselves more than anybody else? Or why is dentistry so stressful? We're going to talk all about that. I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Dr. Kyle Stanley, who's a dentist, tech entrepreneur, speaker, and researcher. And my name is Dr. Martin Mendelson, a disabled dentist, coach, speaker, and author. And my first book, One Move Makes All the Difference, is available wherever books are sold. And together we've helped thousands of dental professionals pursue wellness and dentistry. And if you're unfamiliar with us, we invite you to check out our respective links, websites, and course offerings that are all linked from wellnessinddentistry.com. So, Kyle, you know those situations I'm talking about. You go to a party and people go, what's up with dentists, right?
Yeah, well, especially with me because, I usually tell them that I help dentists master their mental and relational health. And they're like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, I've
yeah,
heard that. So,
yeah,
why is that?
yeah.
And the joke I usually make is, oh, well, that's a 2-day course. If you want to come join me at our next Lightside Live,
Yeah,
please come
yeah,
join
yeah,
us.
yeah.
But I really try to give them the dentist's perspective because I
Hmm.
think that's what most people never consider.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
never consider that we are real people.
Hmm.
It's like when you see your teacher in elementary school at the grocery store and you're
Hmm.
like, you go to the grocery store too?
Yes,
It's funny,
yes.
my son just did that. When he and I were at the playing hockey, he said, "Dad, that's a teacher at my school." I'm
Yeah,
like, "Okay." He's like, "Why is she here?" I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe she's playing hockey. Maybe
yeah,
she
exactly. Yeah,
has a son or daughter that plays hockey, right?"
yeah,
But it's this idea of like people don't humanize us.
yeah, yeah.
And I
I,
think that sometimes it comes from a good place. You
oh,
know
yeah.
how like celebrities sometimes we're like, oh, well, how could they go through
Hmm.
depression or
Hmm.
anxiety or why would they commit suicide or something? And it's
Yeah,
like, well, because they're humans under all
yeah,
that. Like they may be
yeah,
very talented, they may be known by
yeah.
many people, they may be worth millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, but there's still people under all of this.
Well, not only are they still people, but they have to live, with consequences of fame. I mean, I don't know about you, but it would get pretty annoying pretty quick, no matter how rich I was, never to be able to go out to dinner, either period or being constantly bombarded. Like that's not a way to
It
live.
sounds terrible.
It sounds horrible, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, they have all the money. Well, yeah, no, no. But I got to tell you, this conversation just happened in a very supportive way in my own house last weekend. So we always record these ahead of time, and so I held last week, not last weekend. I held Passover Seder here for a bunch of friends, and the subject came up because I was talking about our project that we're going to launch in May, and they literally said tell us like what's up with dentists, like why is this so difficult. And it was interesting, one of the things that I literally did, because I was sitting at my dining room table, I got up and I like bent over and like we're treating a patient, and I said, imagine standing like this for literally hours every day, how would your back feel, how would your arms feel, right? And they were like, oh, I never thought of that before, right? And that's just, as we know, one small example. So it's a very interesting thing that happens all the time, right?
Yeah, one thing I saw someone explain recently, I think his Instagram's called Invest with a DDS or something like that. He's a nice guy. I've chatted with him before. And he posted how as dentists we are perceived as this profession being a calling.
Yeah.
And anytime things get into this calling,
Hmm.
you're not supposed to make money on it.
Yeah.
So, if like it's like an artist selling their money, like, well, you want to sell your art or you want
Yeah.
to sell your
Yeah.
music or, you're a massage therapist and you want to charge people for this. And there's a lot of guilt around that. It's like, not only do we have the challenging part of running the business and being the person inside the
Hmm.
business, we have
Hmm.
those two sides of it.
Hmm.
But then there's this idea that if it's a calling, you can't be successful at it. And there's a
Yeah.
weird double standard that happens there. If you meet someone at a party that is a business person and they
Hmm.
drove up in a Ferrari, you go like, wow, what a successful person.
Yep.
They must have a great business. But
Yep.
if you meet a dentist and we drive a Ferrari, let's say, then it's like, oh, well, he or she must be sucking the blood out of their patients and overcharging them and doing a bunch of things that don't need to be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And that sucks after a while. After hearing that time and time again, it
Totally.
gets annoying and it gets to you.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like,
there.
what people don't realize is we have so much, um, I don't know, like backlog financial debt
Yeah.
and effort that we don't get to enjoy the fruit of our labor for sometimes 20 years. And
Yeah.
that's not always the case in many professions. I mean, there's some
Hmm.
professions that are like that,
Hmm.
but we're taking out hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt nowadays.
Yeah.
Or you're buying a practice, if you're buying a practice
Hmm.
or starting a practice from scratch, you're paying $1 million pretty much at
Hmm. Hmm.
least.
Yeah.
And so, you're in $1.5 million, $2 million that by the time you actually are successful, let's say you're in your late 40s, early 50s. And then if you finally like, hey, now I'm going to go on a great vacation, or now I'm going to buy
Hmm.
a nice car, or now I'm going to, build a house, then it's like, oh my gosh, well, I thought this was a calling for you.
Well, what's weird is there's even hypocrisy with our own, within our own ranks. And so I used to see this at Spear all the time. You and I, both individually and together, have been accused of, profiting off the fact that we have mental health challenges in dentistry. Well, I'm sorry. Do you charge for your services, doctor, dentist?
Yeah.
Hello? Like, why is there this double standard? Like, it's okay for me, meaning John or Jane Q dentist, to charge X dollars for a crown, but it's not okay for Spear Education or Kois or Pankey to charge for education. It's not okay for Kyle or Martin to charge for a 2-day in-person course. That's not okay, but it's okay for me to do it.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, that's a load of crap. And
Yeah.
I'm people who know me personally know, at least I think people know, or people believe rather, I'm a nice guy. Like I don't get hot under the collar very often, but the absolute hypocrisy drives me nuts because it's just I don't even understand it. But anyway,
There's a lot of that
yeah,
people forget about with dentists.
yeah,
They forget that we're the person running the business and being inside the business.
yeah,
Now, there are other professions that are like that,
yeah,
but not usually in healthcare.
yeah, yeah.
Like you do have sometimes like the private um, podiatrists or the
Mhm.
private eye doctors or,
Yeah,
chiropractors and that kind of stuff. And there are, of course, some doctors that are doing it privately, but in general, most healthcare workers are working for big businesses that are working for a hospital. You come in and you do your work and you leave.
yep,
Yeah, you
yep,
still have to write notes, but you don't have to
yep,
do hiring
yep,
and firing and HR
yep,
and acquire paying for the CBCT
right.
and updating all the software. But we run our own little mini hospitals.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of
100%.
stress on that.
Yeah.
I think the other
So,
thing that a lot of people don't talk about is just the sensitive part of the body that we work on,
yeah.
how we impact people's identity too. So you
Hmm.
change your smile, you change your identity, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And how intimate it is to work sometimes a few inches from
Hmm.
someone's
Hmm.
face, which is a very sensitive
Hmm.
personal space kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
position of the body.
Yeah. Well, and the piece of research I always quote, especially to non-dental folks related to this, it's the one I start with. I say, despite what Little Shop of Horrors will make you believe, most dentists are empathetic, caring people who want to help. And this has been proven in the research that's shown that when we give local anesthetic, our blood pressure goes up.
Hmm.
And so then I continue and I usually say something like, and what other profession is there where people have the gall or the balls to look at you and say, I hate you, or I
Yeah.
hate people like you, right?
Hmm.
And there's fear factors because of prior experiences. So when I talk to my friends that are non-dental professionals, they say, so think about it. You're on this sympathetic fight or flight roller coaster all day long. And it's pretty well known out in general populist circles, the effect of, cortisol on the body. I'm like, so think about
Chronic stress.
always, yeah, always having high cortisol levels, high chronic stress every damn day. What do you think that's going to do to your mental and physical health? And typically people are like, oh, okay, right?
Yeah.
But I think we got to remember in general, one of my favorite phrases, people do the best they can with the skills they have at the time. Let's flip that for this situation and say people do the best they have with the knowledge they have at the time. And lay people do not understand any of what we're talking about or will talk about in this episode. And it's not for, um, it's not out of desiring to be ignorant. They just are ignorant in the true definition of that word. They
Right.
just don't know. So rather than kind of getting hot under the collar around it, I think the education piece, particularly frankly, in social situations that aren't connected to a procedure that has stress associated with it, et cetera, you can go quite far. Because
Well,
I
this
can
is
tell
why
you,
what we do
yeah,
is so important, I
yeah,
believe, because I've had friends, very good friends of mine, that we go out to dinner with, and family
hmm
friends, very close. And I remember when we were out to dinner just a few months ago, one of my friends, she said, Kyle, I'm so much nicer to my dentist because of the posts that I see
mm,
of you.
yeah,
When I
yeah,
come in, I don't put my stress on them. I thank them. I'm nice to their team.
yep,
I pay the bill. And
yep,
I'm like, wow, that really means a lot to me.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't think she was saying it to like impress me or something, but
yeah,
really as like she was appreciative to finally not be ignorant on what we go through every day and
hmm.
then not be a contributing factor to that.
Absolutely. And I've chosen personally to extrapolate this to other medical healthcare providers. So whenever I'm in that situation, my mindset is they're here to help me. I know that not everybody is going to be purposefully as nice or pleasant as I'm choosing to be. And so I'm going to do the best I can to be the best I can be for them when I can.
Well,
Uh,
Marna, here's the selfish thing about that. You get better treatment.
oh, hell
When
yes.
you're the favorite patient, people don't realize it. And this isn't on purpose, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah,
not treating our favorite patients
yeah,
better on purpose.
yeah,
But that's what happens because we're not
yeah.
stressed out. We can be focused. We
hmm
can treatment plan better. Like you
hmm
said, we're
Yeah.
positively primed instead of negatively primed, something
hmm
that you always talk about.
hmm
And the research shows that we actually see better, right?
Yeah.
And think
It's
about that.
wild.
Do you want your doctor to actually physically see better because they're positively primed that you're coming in?
Yeah.
Or are you the patient that is always late, never wants to pay, never fills out their forms beforehand, says bad things to the team at the front,
Yep.
and then your doctor will still try to give you the best treatment they can, but they won't be able to. They
Yep.
physically won't be able to.
Yep. Yep.
And
No,
I
it's
always try to talk to people about that. Well, I talk to dentists about that, how nobody knows that like our best patients get better treatment.
100%. I used to think, see, this is kind of interesting. I used to think that in a medical setting, it was it was somehow telling them I was a dentist that got me better care. But
Mm,
the more I think about this, particularly in this moment in this conversation, that's not why I'm getting better care. That's not why they're more kind to me. It's because of my attitude toward them.
yeah,
And I wasn't, and I don't tell medical colleagues I'm a dentist to try to one up or be arrogant or whatever. I just want them to talk to me on a different plane.
straight up. Yeah.
And so that's my motivation, frankly. While at the same time, I end up getting better care, and I've never actually thought of it this way before. It's more my attitude than it is, uh, who I am or what degree I have. How about
And
that?
I think once you have been a dentist for a few
Hmm.
years,
Hmm.
if you own a practice, if you don't
Hmm.
own a practice, but just
Hmm.
if you kind of are treating patients
Yeah.
consistently,
Yeah.
it makes you want to be a better patient when
Yeah.
you go in.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. I extrapolate this now to almost everywhere that I go. I got
Hmm.
a smog check the other day. I try to be a good person when I come in. I try to
Hmm.
be nice to them,
Hmm.
pay the fee that they ask,
Yeah.
um, support their business if I can.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think it pays off.
Well, it's wild. One of the this is going to sound so bizarre. One of the most pleasant medical experiences I've ever had was probably one of the worst days of my life. When I broke my sternum in the middle of COVID. So I
Ugh.
tripped and I fell on May 28th, 2020,
Oh
and I
my
had to go
God.
to the ER. And it was hell. I was in so much pain. I now understand what seeing stars means. If you've never seen stars, it's a real thing, folks. And I went in there with such an appreciative, apologetic attitude. I literally, at one point, the nurse and the attending separately told me to stop apologizing because what I remember saying multiple times was something like, I know you have bigger issues to deal with. Um, and I remember in particular being getting x-rayed because you had to go from the gurney to the table and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I was in so much pain that I couldn't do it. And it was a gentleman radiology tech who's ex-military and usually in the radiologic service, if they're male, they're typically ex-military, just not to categorize people, but typically that's the case. And so I was like, thank you for your service. I said, I really I don't mean to make your day even more difficult than it is, but sir, I can't get up. It hurts too much. Could you please help me? And he looked at me and he goes, please don't apologize for that. He goes, I would be happy to help you. So again, it's the attitude thing, but yeah, I think we got off on a tangent about how we could better interact with our medical colleagues, but
Well,
it's
it's
similar,
important.
right?
It's important to understand this.
Yeah.
What are other things that you think we need to point out to non-dentists when we're having this discussion? Because, we're having this discussion in a 30-minute
Yeah.
expanded view, but usually, let's
Yeah.
say this is at a party, this is at a dinner,
Yeah.
and you want to explain this in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the
I,
physical aspect is there. I,
physical
I think the,
aspect.
the negative press and negative view of dentists in
Hmm.
pop culture
Yep.
is the big one.
Yep.
Running the business and working in the business,
Yeah.
I think is a big one.
Yeah. I would also say, and this is a big one too. I talk about this all the time. The unfortunate misunderstanding of what dental insurance actually is
Mm,
and how it almost by default sets up an adversarial conversation because your expectation of coverage is based on the medical model that doesn't exist in dentistry. And so I then go into my favorite explanation of dental insurance ever, thanks to my dear friend Dr. Gary DeWood, which is this. If your homeowner's insurance, oh, sorry, dental insurance is not insurance because insurance by definition is to cover you for catastrophic events.
mm,
The max when it debuted in 1965 or 67 was about 1500. It's about the same now with some exception. And that if your homeowner's insurance operated like your dental insurance, God forbid your house ever burned down, they would pay to replace your windows and then pay to clean them once a year every year thereafter. And usually it gets a laugh because of the
Yeah.
absurdity of it, but then people go, "Oh, I never thought of it that way before."
Yeah.
So I do believe the expectation element around finances sets up negativity as well, because money doesn't grow on trees, and it particularly doesn't grow on trees for most people. What's that statistic that 40 or 60% of Americans can't even deal with a $400 emergency, which is
Yeah.
really, really sad.
Hmm.
So when you're going in there, you're in pain, you're stressed out, or maybe you're not in physical pain, maybe you're in emotional pain because
Yeah.
something doesn't look right, because something fractured, even if it doesn't hurt, right? You're still in emotional pain. You go in, you really want to get the best you can get, and then you find out it's out of your league from a financial perspective. Well, what do you expect
Yeah.
from a reactionary perspective, right? So I think that's a big deal for people to not only recognize about us as dentists, but even about themselves,
Hmm.
to how they go in, and their level of expectation.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it from what you said, which is like the financial model or the structure in society where dentistry falls. Because, people like dentistry is so expensive, and it is,
It is.
but for a reason. And I think
Yeah.
we also have to remember that 90% of what we fix is completely preventable by the
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't get mad at us
Yeah.
for finding things that you could have prevented. It's
Yeah.
like, to give the example of the house, if you had a leak in your house and you knew there was a leak there and you
Hmm.
didn't fix it for a year, and then an inspector comes in and goes, "Oh my gosh, you have a giant flood underneath your house." Don't be mad at the inspector.
Mm-mm.
If you knew
No.
that all you had to do was clean it out every week
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah.
And that stuff bothers me so much.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's like, oh, I
Agreed.
went to
Agreed.
the dentist and I had to get three fillings and each one was 300 bucks. And I kind of want to be like, well, maybe you should brush your teeth. Maybe you
Hmm.
should have not eaten junk food all the time. Maybe
Yeah.
you should have flossed. Maybe you should not drink soda. Like,
Well, there's another nuance here too, which I know you agree with because we've talked about this before, which is the subjectivity of the dental exam and findings.
yeah,
So, uh, what it's interesting, and I've seen a bunch of people, dentist influencers, post on this recently. It goes in waves, it seems, where you go to one dentist and they want to do, let's say, five restorations. You go to another dentist, they want to do zero. And you automatically assume the one that wants to do five is the one that's a shyster.
wrong.
Well,
Yeah,
wait a minute. Maybe not. Maybe the other one is just, watching things. If you're
yeah.
listening to this, I put that in air quotes because I hate that word within the confines of dentistry. Um, and so who's the evil person here? So I do believe things like technologies like Pearl, thank you for helping to found that company, are going to really help bring objectivity to an area of subjectivity, as well as reassuring the patient. Because look, when you first showed me Pearl, this was 2020, and AI wasn't in the common lexicon of people's
Yeah.
vocabularies like it is today.
Hmm.
If you were to look at somebody and say, "We used AI to determine beyond a shadow of a doubt that this needs to be at least addressed," you're
Yeah.
going to get a hell of a lot different response today, because of just the technology utilization. So I think that's going to help as well. So that brings in this whole trust element, right? So that's the other reason. So people are
That's a good one.
they're on guard, right?
Yeah.
So I hate, like most people, going to buy a car. Now, why do I hate going to buy a car? Because I had three different experiences that were incredibly negative. Two of the three, I caught them in absolute sharing of absolute untruths. And the third, they denied to honor something they put in writing.
Huh.
So I don't like going to buy a car. So
Yeah.
whenever I can do it online somehow and avoid all of that, I do.
Mm.
So, but why do I hate it? If you examine it, it's a lack of trust.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that people don't like. So think about this. They're walking in there ready to, have a fight or ready
Yeah,
to
they're on edge
question.
already.
Yeah,
And I think that lack of trust comes from the fact that our incentives aren't aligned.
correct.
We get paid more money for finding more things.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so that's why you're saying that the person who finds five cavities or, wants to do five fillings, the person that wants to do zero, they assume, oh, well, this person just wants to make more money.
yeah.
And that could be the case, but in general, that's not the case, right? We have some bad
No,
apples in our profession, like every
yeah,
profession.
yeah.
When you can build trust with a patient, whether that's through technology,
Mhm.
through referrals, through research or
Yeah,
photos or
yeah.
anything that is objective, we have to do it
Absolutely.
because we're starting behind the eight ball in our profession.
Oh,
And
100%.
that's why I think a big future in dentistry is getting paid for keeping people healthy,
Yeah,
not getting paid for doing more implants, getting paid
yeah,
for extracting more teeth. And
yeah.
I think the only way that that's going to happen is through artificial intelligence.
Hmm. Oh, 100%. 100%. But I also think I'd like to maybe talk for a moment or two about our responsibilities relative to our mental health as it relates to how we process the conversations and the informations that we're having real time.
Okay?
So what I mean by that is the patient is nasty, and let's say you've never met them before, or maybe they're nasty over something that you would seriously consider minor, right? What's the thing behind the thing, as one of my mentors would say, right?
Hmm.
So instead of, because you have a choice in that situation, right? Between stimulus and response, there's a space. You have a choice of getting upset and saying, oh man, all patients are this way these days. Are they really? Like, you may have had multiple experiences. I'm not going to discount that. I'm not going to ignore that. But you're going to try to tell me you have 2,000 patients a record and they don't like you? Like, really? Is that true? If it is, maybe you need to become a
Yeah,
baker
move,
or
pick up and
something.
move.
Yeah. But so my point is that how would it be for us, because skills are skills, how would it be for us to sit more in a curious space? I'm not a therapist. I'm not pretending to be one. And what I've heard so many times, the therapeutic approach to emotions is kind of like you're sitting on the side of a babbling brook and you're observing your emotions flow by rather than, taking them on, right? So what would it be like to be like, huh, wow, that was kind of a negative thing for somebody to say. I wonder why they think that way. I wonder what's happened to them in the past. Like, it's not trite. And think about like how
Happened to me today.
distracted you could be, right, in that moment so that you don't get all worked up in it, right? So I think we bear a responsibility as well to watch our own thoughts because we can't control other people, but we can control our responses to other people, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's bring this into land.
Yeah.
We know dentistry is hard,
Yep.
so we have to think about what we can control, not what we
Hmm.
can't control.
Hmm.
When we do talk to non-dentists about why it's so challenging, I think we need to focus on the fact that we are humans,
Yep.
like everybody else,
Hmm.
the lack of trust in our profession, the physical challenges, the financial system on how dentistry is set up
Yeah.
and how it leads to people being constantly on edge.
Mhm.
And then I think also the balance of running a business and working in the business.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I used that last one a lot too. Because I said to him, I said, the conversation literally went to, and think about it. If a this is literally what I said. I said, if a dentist is treating a patient and the toilet leaks, he or she can't fix it. If the dentist is treating a patient and, somebody is screaming at their office manager up front, they can't be in two places at the same time. I was like, that breeds a lot of stress. And oh, by the way, nobody teaches us how to do this stuff,
Yeah,
whether it's fix a toilet or lead. Nobody teaches us how to do this.
right.
So yeah, yeah,
Great. Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Martin and I sure appreciate you for listening, continuing, sending us messages. We love hearing from you, and we hope to see you guys in our next course. You can click on our link, Wellness and Dentistry, and there's also some links in the show notes for some of the companies that support us. Please support them. If you are looking for disability insurance, Martin can talk to you about that as a disabled dentist himself.
yep.
Don't think there's anybody better than Martin to talk to you about that. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode of Wellness and Dentistry.
Bye bye.